okay, in your sine waves, polarity. Okay, so we're compressing the two together. You bring the two together and then off you go, disappear into another reality. That's basically what happens when matter and antimatter collide. Alright, so that matter grid and antimatter grid have a harmonic resonance. The difference between the two grids, right, the difference between them just happens to be 2, 5, 4, 5 harmonic. So this number correlates with that harmonic. It sits in between the two grids. It's kind of like a crossed harmonic, a golden harmonic. Measured at 1 geodetic inch. Okay? Because we're talking harmonics, so it's minutes of arcs and that energy. We're not interested in square centimetres. Okay? We're doing it another type of measurement here. So that shows how important this equation is. It just plugs in everywhere. It's plugged into the grid. It's showing you the feminine expression of the goddess energy, which is now coming through, and we have the recursive factor here. So the next step in the equation is going 32 times 256, and that equals 8192. That's an incredibly important number. Okay, if you put a line down the middle there and you put a couple of little pluses here, you have 911. So it gives you your 911 gateway. That's what 9 represents is the ending of the cycle. Okay, going through the two pillars of polarity. That's what it represents. And that's why those buildings were hit on that day. And that's why the emergency number for a certain country is that number. Because the establishment that controls things here wants as much fear around those numbers as possible in the psyche of the people. Okay, because they're such important numbers. They just want fear around those numbers. And that's why Spain was hit exactly 911 days after the two buildings were hit. Okay, and for those in the mystery, exactly the same people that control the terrorists are exactly the same people behind the so-called coalition of the willing. There is no different, and I stand by this, and this is going on tape. This number also happens to be the harmonic of the acceleration of the speed of light on the planet, because light is it's not like a machine, it's not constant. It's a different speed at the equator than what it is at the poles. And so while we have here, I'll draw the equator, 0 degrees. Okay. That is the number of the harmonic at 60 degrees latitude on our planet. That number correlates, and it's 81918 is the harmonic involved there. Okay, very, very important number. And when you look at that numerically, also, 9 is the ending of the cycle between the two pillars of polarity, flanked either side by the infinite wisdom of God. Okay? Very, very powerful number, that one. And you think, well, gee, that's really amazing. 60 degrees, that kind of sounds familiar. 60 degrees, 666. What's that number? That sounds familiar, doesn't it? 666. Gee, it's supposed to be an evil number, the number of the beast. No, they don't want you to go there. That's why they say it's evil. Okay? Just about everything they say it's evil is because they don't want you to touch it. They don't want you to know about your serpent origins and the serpents and the roles they've played. And they don't want you to know about the number 666. It is 60 degrees, 60 degrees, 60 degrees. It is the holy triangle of light. And we can do that for our beloved Freemason friends. No, they're good guys too. My father was a Freemason. It's all right. Okay? Just wish they'd listen to me a bit more. Okay? That's all right. We've got to love all the guys. You know, they've done a lot of good work. Look, there's only a tiny minuscule of people in that organisation that evil. The rest of them are just beautiful beings doing a lot for the community, so it's not about judgment. Alright, so basically you now have 8192 or 81918 on each corner. And that is the unification, the Holy Trinity, of the Father and the Son and the Holy Spirit in religious terms. That is the unification of all three, bringing all three in at the same time to combine and become one. The unification of the Father and the Son and the Holy Spirit. And again, that is westernised terms. Every culture can look at this and have their own words and their own terminology that they use for those same names. Okay, it's not about a one-eyed perspective. So now we take that into consideration. You think, okay, so you did mention before about the planetary light body, the planetary light vehicle being activated. So we go back to the global picture, and you have 0 degrees, 0 degrees, 30. Okay, so we set at 60 degrees, that's where the harmonic, so that forms the base now for an amazing thing. Okay. Alright, because it just so happens to form the base for the triangle. And there you have it. Okay? That harmonic will activate the planetary light body, the planetary light vehicle, also known as the Merkaba vehicle. Please don't think of this as a religious symbol or the symbol of a nation. Okay? Like I said, we're coming from beyond and above all that stuff. Okay? This is the energy of what is. You go, okay, so you've given us 24,832 years, but, you know, time is measured on a linear fashion, and you could say it could be anywhere along that timeline, okay? So what is it about a specific date? And you think, okay, we'll move to that now. The actual date. 21st March 2013. That is when the cycle closes on the day, and that is the day that harmonic kicks in a gear and activates the planetary light body. And when you write this date, rewrite it, you go 2103, as we write it here in Australia, and you go 2013. And that's interesting. You look at the 1 representing the whole, the oneness, has now moved across, and it's gone away from polarity, okay, and has moved into the Trinity. It's shifted across. Alrighty. You think, well, yeah, but that's still a bit how you're going. It's not really quite rock solid. We're dealing with harmonics, and we're dealing with symbolism. Pictures go beyond, they penetrate the veil of this reality, they go into the soul of the being. Okay? Every picture tells 1,000 words. It's very important that pictures and pictorial diagrams are used and monuments, very powerfully symbolic because there's mathematical measurements in them and what have you, sacred geometry, and they tell so much, they tell enormous stories. Okay? But when you look at it also, you can go 2 + 1